It's Andrew Downs. I'm proud to support Three Beards Media, and I would love to work with you. If you need merchandise for your company, organization, band, softball team, whatever, I can help. From name brand apparel to promotional items, large orders or small, online stores, and more, I can help your brand stand out. AKC Marketing is local, based in Johnston, and we are an employee-owned business, so our costs are low and our turnaround times are fast. But most importantly, we give you personal service to make sure you get exactly what you're looking for. Email me at andrew@akcmarketing.com or find me on social media, and let's make some cool stuff together. Now sit back and enjoy this Three Beards Media podcast.
Welcome to the first edition of the Climbing Mount Rushmore podcast. I'm Ted Hawley here with our fearless leader, Chris Shipley, and we are live from the AKC Andrew Downs Marketing Studio, and always brought to you by our friends from Revelton Distilling Company. Chris, we've been talking about this for a while. We've been pushing off, not just doing a show together, but it kind of came randomly at the beginning of the summer of, man, we both like to argue about who's right once in a while, so let's just turn the microphones on and do it, huh?
That's right. That's right. I've been waiting for a month and a half to push the button on that opening. It's been so.
No, it's been good. And like I said, we're gonna just kind of push through this. This is our first episode here, and our just kind of for our listeners, our quick plan is gonna be we're gonna kind of keep this short and simple, and we're gonna have some guests every week. We're planning on maybe in every 2 weeks, maybe 2 a month. We'll kind of see how it goes and play by ear a little bit. But it's gonna be me and Chris this first episode, and we might as well just jump right into it as I'm wearing my Boston Celtics gear here to celebrate.
I know. It's nice that you're wearing your World Championship gear, and I'm wearing next year's future World Championship gear, so I'm super excited.
I will tell you, we'll get to it when the Ball Don't Lie podcast comes back, but it is actually plus money to bet the under on 8.5 wins this year, so we'll get to that a different podcast. Well, let's jump right into it. If you're familiar with what Mount Rushmore is, if you watch any sports talk shows, it's pretty self-explanatory. Your top four and what it is. We'll do some topics every single week, and we'll kind of explain what they are, why we picked them, and how we feel about it. Again, this is going to be kind of a water-moving thing as we go. We'll see how it goes, especially with guests too. But we had to start with our first topic being the Iowa State Mount Rushmore. Right. No specifics other than that, just the Iowa State Mount Rushmore. Chris, why don't you start us off on your first person on your Iowa State? And this is, you don't have to go in any specific order.
Okay.
The first person on your Mount Rushmore for Iowa State.
Well, I will go. My first one will be probably the least controversial, and that's going to be the man, Marcus Fizer. The only man the first man to be a McDonald's All-American, the first guy to be a lottery pick, led his team to Elite Eight. The team absolutely crashed and burned the next year when he wasn't there. He put Iowa State on the map as far as I'm concerned on a national scene. Marcus Fizer is my first entry of Mount Rushmore of Iowa State athletics.
You cannot argue that at all.
No,
this is so broad too. Marcus Fizer. I remember watching that Elite Eight game with them against, which was the national championship game, by the way.
100%. Yeah,
it was the national championship game. and had a JV reffing crew, I think, is what Dick Vitale called it.
That's
That's
right.
what he said. Dick Vitale said that. But I was watching it at the we were at a family reunion or something. We were in Omaha at the Embassy Suites there, and my brother and I were watching it on the smallest TV screen ever, sitting that close to it. But he was the man. That's a great pick.
Yeah, that game is going to haunt me for a long time still.
Yeah, it's you win that game, you win an Addy. Truly,
100%.
My first choice in this is gonna be, and it's probably controversial to some, but to me, it's absolutely not. And that is Jamie Pollard is on my Mount Rushmore for Iowa State. What he has done through his tenure here has put Iowa State in a spot now we've never been consistently, and on a trajectory to somewhere different we've never been. Whether it's getting a Matt Campbell, keeping a Matt Campbell, building what Jack Trice looks like now before he got there, just in its entirety, I think Jamie Pollard needs a statue of him when he's done. And we might be getting close to the end of his tenure here too. We're talking about Saitan, some stuff too. I mean, I've had the privilege of knowing him a little bit too. I think he's a great guy. But I think it's understated what he does. I think we're getting a little spoiled now as Iowa State fans when they get a little mad at him.
Yep.
Pollard did that. Pollard gave us the ability to be spoiled about stuff. So that's also done by Pollard because it didn't used to be that way. So Jamie Pollard is on my Iowa State athletics Mount Rushmore.
He's on mine as well. And similar reasons, but I will just name a few things off. Hoiberg, Campbell, Otzelberger. I'll even give him props for hiring Gene Chizik, who went somewhere else and won a national championship.
I'll give you that.
May not have been fit for Iowa State, but the dude could coach. And he was the hottest coach at the time coming out. And you look at the facilities that he's brought on. And to your point, when would I have ever in my lifetime bitched and moaned about small things that the AD does when we were so terrible and whatever else? If my only complaint is he won't sell beer and he blocks people on Twitter, I think we're pretty set. And I will tell you this: the one thing that I like about Jamie is he is down to earth. He's completely down to earth. He will talk to you. He will have a conversation with you. He answers every email. I can't tell you how many times I've emailed that guy, and from the very beginning, he answered me. Who does that?
I completely agree with you on that. Yeah, exactly. All those reasons you said, I think it's a no-brainer. Pollard's on the Mount Rushmore.
And he said on Old Man Strength Month, he guarantees he's retiring before Bill Fennelly because he absolutely does not want to have to replace that guy. So at the rate that Coach Fennelly's going, Jamie might just retire first.
That's a great reason. All right, so we both went there too. So I'll go back to I just have one on there, so I'll go again since you had him as well. You might be a little shocked with my next one because it's also a basketball player, but a different reason. And mine's Georges Niang. My reason for this is when they were taking that next level through the Freddie years into that, what Georges Niang brought to the program at that time as a player, I think it speaks for itself a little bit. But what he continues to do as an advocate for Iowa State and the program beyond that, and certainly it has helped by him having he's working on himself a 10-plus NBA career in meaningful minutes. We're talking, he's a rotation player for playoff basketball teams, and that says a lot. So his engagement with Twitter fans against the Iowa fans, just ask. I mean, we'll have some Hawkeye fans on here at some point too, and we'll do who's your Mount Rushmore of Cyclones you hate. I think it's going to be very hard pressed to not have Georges Niang on that list. And that's another reason he makes my list for that. Maybe is there some more accomplished basketball players like a Marcus Fizer on there? Sure. But for the reasons I stated, that's why Georges Niang makes my list for Iowa State's Mount Rushmore.
I would agree with that. He's not on my list, but George to me is the epitome of what you would say the modern Iowa State athlete and fan. Continues to engage, continues to come back, gives back, goes to games, sits in the stands with the rest of the students, even though to your point, he's a 10-year veteran. Like he's no different than you and I. How much would we love to go back and be a student and relive our time at ISU?
Oh, it'd be crazy. He's how engaging he is when you don't have to be. And look, and even not just Iowa State, but other places too. They might come in and put their time in once in a while. He lives at 365 still, and he's still playing in the league. So I think he's what it means to be a Cyclone. For that reason, he makes my Mount Rushmore.
My next one is basketball, but not a player, and that's Coach Johnny Orr.
It was a just miss for me.
So Johnny Orr created Hilton Magic, and not a lot of people, not a lot of young fans can appreciate the fact that he left Michigan and came to Iowa State. I mean, that's like Calipari leaving Kentucky and I won't say Arkansas, but I guess it could be the same.
Well, I mean, it's different now.
It's different now, but at that point, I mean, Iowa State was nothing. They had nothing.
And if the rumor's true, I believe Iowa State called on him because he had a good program going at Michigan too at the time. They called about an assistant, and he was given a good review. And he goes, "Well, what are you paying?" And I heard, if the rumor's right, the job was paying more than he was getting paid. He's like, "Well, what about me?" And I think it was a quick move on from there. So that's. I'm a little too young to remember most of his stuff. It's more, folklore and that stuff to me. So for that reason, that's why he misses a little bit.
The best story I have that I saw on TV was him dropping a couple cuss words on ESPN to Dickie V when they had the selection show, and he basically said something about, "That's why you're in the booth, and that's why we kicked your ass the last time we played you." And he dropped it on live ESPN, which tells me all I need to know about how awesome Johnny Orr was.
That is awesome. So to recap here quick so far, Chris has Marcus Fizer and Jamie Pollard and Johnny Orr. I also have Jamie Pollard, George Niang, and that leads me into my third one. And there's maybe some recency bias here, and this is maybe just playing a little bit on the time because, one really bad year from him in the NFL and maybe it's gone. But boy, Brock Purdy has put us on a different level nationally with stuff that we've never been in the NFL. When Iowa State has a quarterback playing in the Super Bowl, that's a big deal. And look, he was. We've had some good guys, and there's some guys who I like at Iowa State, but he was our best quarterback that's ever played at Iowa State. I don't think anybody's going to ignore that. He's the most accomplished quarterback we've had at Iowa State with his numbers and what he did there, the winning he had there, and then translating that into the next level. I mean, he turned national talking heads crazy all year because he's not supposed to be there, but he just keeps winning and doing stuff. So while this maybe has some recency bias, if we do this again in a year, and it falls off, maybe this changes for me. But in the current status right now, I just think what Brock Purdy is doing and the trajectory where it can continue to go. And he does the exact same thing like Yang, coming back doing stuff for like Pioneer, local companies like that too, to where he's, he married a local gal, so he's back here. He's completely entrenched with Campbell in the program. Brock Purdy makes my Mount Rushmore.
Typed his name out, erased it, and only because my criteria was more for what they did at Iowa State.
And that's fair.
And Brock Purdy, probably the biggest name in NFL sports right now, short of Patrick Mahomes.
The most talked about.
The most talked about for sure. And the most debated, 100%. Right. But I went with another guy, and you've had a couple recent guys. I've had some older guys. Troy Davis is on my list.
His name was out too.
The only man in history to rush for 2,000 yards twice in consecutive seasons, and had a little bit of a stint in the NFL and in the CFL, but
he's on really bad teams too. He did that on teams.
That's just what they won 3 games a year, and he was their only guy.
Yeah.
And they are lining up to stop that guy, and he's still running over. Now that should tell you how bad the defense was for those teams, and for those early McCarney teams and whatever. And as much as I love Jim Walden and Keith Schrage, my buddy who played tight end in the late 80s and coached as a GA for Walden, is going to shoot me, but I'll never forgive Jim Walden for not playing him as a freshman. I'll never forgive him. We went 0-10 and he didn't play Troy Davis as a freshman, but Troy Davis has got to be on there. He's the only man in the history of college football to run for 2,000 yards consecutively twice.
That's I mean, that's a no-brainer pick there too. My last one, again, I think I had 5 or 6 names scribbled out, and I went back kind of against on what maybe my other criteria was, and I went back the other way. I went way back on it too, and I ended up putting Jack Trice on there. And the reason I did that is a lot for the history and what that means. I mean, Iowa State having the first field named after an African American, that's a big deal. What he went through to do that too. His story is getting more traction in recent years than it probably did, and it deserved more earlier. And I think that as time continues to go on, his story and stuff will matter more and more. And it's another, it's a thing for Iowa State to hang their hat for that too. So I take Jack Trice on there, and look, you guys you named, they were on there, scribbled off, and like I said, what they did at Iowa State too. Look, he didn't play there that long too, but he's done a lot for it to bring awareness and that stuff too. So Jack Trice didn't make my Mount Rushmore.
I don't disagree with that. Again, he was right there on the cusp. His legacy speaks for itself. We're still talking about a guy that played sparingly over 100 years ago.
100 years ago.
So, yep, 100%. And has inspired hundreds and hundreds of young African-American males to do his basically his mission. So no argument there whatsoever.
So that this might be the easiest one we do because it's hard to argue on number 2, and we'll get way
right. Like, what am I gonna do? Complain because you put Jack Trice on it? Like, why don't I just get ostracized right out of Cyclone fandom?
When we get into some other stuff there too, we'll really get into it, and there'll be some argument on that. I knew this would probably be the easiest one we've ever done, but just to recap here too, and there really wasn't any wrong answers. Chris went for his all-time Iowa State athletics Mount Rushmore: Marcus Fizer, Jamie Pollard, Johnny Orr, and Troy Davis. And I went with Jamie Pollard as well. George Niang, Brock Purdy, and Jack Trice. It is interesting we only overlapped once there, and it was Jamie Pollard. So, Jamie, for listening, there's a reason to come on the show and do this with us and tell us.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us your Iowa State Mount Rushmore, because we'd love to hear it.
That'll put him on the spot.
Yeah, I don't think he's doing that one. We have to have some different topics.
That's right.
He's not afraid to mix it up, but I don't think that's a topic he's going to jump into.
No. Well, I guess Drew's going to riot because we didn't see Kale Samerson.
He cut me. And that's
cut me too deep.
That's flat out me being just not a wrestling guy.
Yeah,
followed that much on it too. But Kale, and that actually came to my head too. And he absolutely would probably make more than 90% of people's list for that, and rightfully so.
I'll give Woody his props, but I mean, it's one touchdown to take down the BCS. I can't put him the other. I can't take him.
He played with my brother too. I watched him a lot.
Oh, did he? That's right. He did. That's right. Yeah. So
I think they were the same grad. No, he might have been a year younger than my brother. I think he's one graduating class below my brother. So all right. Well, that was the first one. That was fun. It was kind of a easy way to slide into this. Our next topic here is gas stations, best gas stations. It's kind of a run-through thing here, too. It's just kind of fun.
I'm so going to get hammered for this.
Why don't you get started then? Why don't you just run through your whole list here on the gas stations?
Okay.
And you tell me why, and I'll go through mine. And if I think you're dumb on something, I'll pop in and tell you.
So first one is Casey's. None. By the way, only 1 out of the 4 have anything to do with gas. Just so you know. Casey's. I mean, their loaded breakfast burrito, I've been speaking it into existence for the last few months, is the greatest breakfast ever burrito. I literally, until I started seriously deciding I should probably watch what I eat. At one point, I was going to getting 2 of them every morning, like 2 or 3 times a week. So I can't imagine why I was feeling like total crap.
But their breakfast sausage pizza is unbeatable to me.
Yeah, man, that loaded the crunch of the hash browns in the loaded breakfast burrito is so good. Like, I don't know how their hash browns still are crunchy with a bunch of cheese around them, but it is. I don't know. Second one is Quick Trip. Again, it's because it's food. Their frozen cappuccino drink. I may or may not have been on a diabetic coma from like 2008 to 2012. Every summer when I was coaching baseball and on the way to baseball, I was stopping and getting one of these gigantic frozen cappuccinos and would drink it while I was at the ballpark. So, and that was my go-to place driving back and forth from Ames. I'd go to class. Well, when I'd go to class, I'd then stop at Quick Trip on the way home and eat, God knows what was ever in those warmers, and they were absolutely delicious. So, third is Quick Star. I mean, that's a game changer. They're building one here in Norwalk. Even the boys are super excited. They cannot wait until this Quick Star opens.
Quick Star is incredible. I mean, it's on my list, so I'll get it when it gets there and tell you why. But absolutely,
I mean, even just like this is my old man. Even the spacious parking there, like I don't feel like there's a bunch of cars in my way, and I gotta wait for people and everything else.
My dad's a reason on my list too, and I'll talk about it when we get there. But yeah, it also made mine.
And Costco.
Interesting.
So, yes, so that's my curveball. Costco is.
I'll give it to you.
I mean, it's efficient. I'm in and out. It's cheaper gas. I will drive to Jordan Creek Costco just to get gas, just so I can save 15 cents a gallon. Which I guess if I did the math, it probably wouldn't add up.
Maybe it comes out to be the same.
But it makes me feel better.
So. I'm not the biggest Quick Trip guy. I that's one of mine. It's I've had too many. I used to love going there because their hot dogs or their Sean Roberts like here and that were always like really good on it too. And then that's going down a little bit. And then this Quick Star thing came about, so I'll just drive by them now.
Yeah.
So that's not the worst list there too. So I'll go back there. I had two of mine too. Casey's is just, and it's not for the gas in there too. It's the I love their pizza. Their sausage breakfast pizza is like probably, if you told me I could only have one breakfast food forever the rest of my life, and that's the only thing you could ever have, that would be my request. That would be on my last meal request would be sausage breakfast pizza from Casey's.
Wow. We need to have a Mount Rushmore of that. Your last meal is on.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Quick Star is incredible. My dad loved it. He would drive from Panora. He would just drive out his way to Grimes when they had that first one there just to go there. He's like, it's like a mall. I'm like, dude, it truly is. So like living in Polk City where there's only a Fairway too, they're not open on Sundays.
Yep.
You can get anything you want to get. You can get there. I'm talking fresh fruit to breads, steaks to grill, brats to grill. They have so much fresh food coming all the time too. They have all the options there too. It is incredible. And they always say, see you next time you're leaving too. They must just drive that in their brains.
Yeah.
Well, see you next time. We'll see you next time. They never forget.
Norwalk only has a Fairway here. So that on Sundays, it's going to be a game changer around here. I don't have to go to Dollar General.
They're incredible on that too. And their chicken, especially their chicken strips and their fried chicken is incredible. I got a buddy, Duke Moffitt. He played Division I football too. He's been for probably 10 years now. And he said I haven't found that good a chicken anywhere like for a long time. And he said for a while he's going to get an 8-piece like 2-3 times a week. He said it's the best. He's from Louisiana. He said it's the best fried chicken he's found in Iowa since he's been here for a decade. That's how much you like that. Yeah. So Quick Star is unbelievable. I'm going to give you one you probably don't know if you're not from Northwest, maybe a little bit of Southwest, but mostly Northwest Iowa. And that's Sparky's.
Never heard of it.
It's called Sparky's. So they now, I believe it's from Storm Lake to Bogie area down to Vale, Denison, where I'm from. There's a bunch of them. Owl's Corner and Brito's area. Back when I was living back there 20 years ago, they made their own pizza and stuff too, and it was absolutely incredible. It's a throwback store, but when you're driving up down 71 or Highway 30, you always knew what you got when you're stopping at Sparky's. I believe they do like Godfathers to go now for their pizza. It's not the same.
Not the same.
It is absolutely not the same, but their pizza back in the day, when all you had in Vale, the only thing we had in Vale, Iowa, a town of 400 people, was Sparky's. I can still smell and taste that pizza now. So Sparky's made my list for that reason. And my last one is Buc-ee's. And the only reason I like that is when you're making the trips up and down, especially when my brother played, down to Texas, Oklahoma, and all those trips and back, we were taking Dad's RV. We would just wait until we saw a Buc-ee's to stop and get gas for places because that place was like a Costco super mall and stuff too. It was an incredible store. It would take forever to walk around those things. I was always just impressed by the Buc-ee's down south. You probably got to get to Oklahoma to find one though, I'm guessing. Maybe even down to Texas.
We went through one when we came back from Louisiana and so far last year. So that was the first time I'd ever went through one. Yeah, legit, it's gigantic, but I didn't feel I could put it on my list because I'd only went through one time, and I probably only saw a fraction of it. And really, the asterisk one I couldn't name it was the I-80 World's Greatest Truck Stop. I didn't know if that would count or not, so I didn't put that down. But that's a staple. You got to stop at that one all the time. I know Sean Roberts stops at that one every time he goes through. I know he does.
I agree with that. All right, so those are decent lists. Just run it back through here quick too. Actually, I didn't get yours down there. So you had Casey's, Quick Star, Quick Trip, and Costco.
Costco
were your 4, and I had Quick Star, Casey's, Buc-ee's, and Sparky's. And if you're not from Northwest Iowa, you probably have no idea what Sparky's is. But if you are from there and listening, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They're the big green dinosaurs there.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, that'll lead us into our last topic here before we close up shop. And again, we are live from the AKC Andrew Downs Marketing Studio. And as always, brought to you by our friends at Rebelton Distilling Company. We are a Three Beards Media podcast. Ted Hawley here again with Chris Shipley, our fearless leader. And our last topic is fast food chains. And we were back and forth whether we were just burgers or just fast food. We went just fast food for this one. And depending on how much time we have, what kind of mood we're in, we could probably fight on this one, I think.
I'm sure we might. We just might.
All right. Well, I'll go first. This one's a little more local, and it is the best fast food burger I've ever had in my life, and that's from anywhere, and that's Bebop's. Bebop's is king to me. Their burger is so good that it's hard to drive by that. And now that I have one in Grimes, it's closer to me too. I love it. Bebop's, first on my list.
Bebop's is on my list. The grease, the amount that you can just bite into it and you can almost feel like it could just slide down your throat is insane great.
It's the perfect burger to bun ratio too.
It is. Now, their fries are trash. I absolutely will not order their fries. They're disgusting.
I think their fries are okay. But I'll give it to you on the fries. I don't mind their fries, but they're not
Bebop's. Their burgers are absolutely amazing. And I'll tell you a quick story. When I was dating my wife, Stacy, she called me one night. She had stopped at Bebop's and got a sandwich. And like an hour later, she thought she was having a heart attack. And I had to take her to the hospital. And she didn't end up having a heart attack. But she swore up and down she was never eating another Bebop's burger after that. And so it's not exact. If I go, I have to sneak it and not.
You got to sneak it in and get it out. That's funny. Well, we agree on that. That's, to me, it's a staple. When I get people like when Jordan Walker and those guys would come to town, we had some bands come in, like, where do we need to go? I'm like, looking for something fast. And they'd be like, yeah. I'm like, go there. And I've never had a bad review on it ever.
Nope. No, and their drive-thru's legit too. You just pull right in there and you're in and out.
Yep, for sure. For sure. My second one, and this one goes for cheap, whatever you need on it, is Taco Bell, man. If Taco Bell just had the potato lays from Taco John's would be out of business right now. There'd be no reason to even have that open anymore because the Olays are awesome. But Taco Bell has a bunch of stuff that is still – now what sucks about it now is like everything else with, just in the food world right now, you used to be able to go there with $5 and get full. You cannot do that anymore.
No, you can't.
You can absolutely not do that anymore. But Taco Bell absolutely makes my list just because if you had $5-6 in college, you could go there in that dollar menu and get back and get full and feel horrible about yourself an hour later. But you definitely could do that for cheap.
Taco Bell did not make my list. Taco John's is on my list because of the potato olays.
And that's the only reason, because everything else is trash there.
But to me, I swear to God, if you put a Taco John's soft shell taco in front of me and a Taco Bell one, I probably could not tell you the difference. So with that, it's the Olays. Also, shout out to the Mexi rolls that they used to have, which they very well might have. They're not on the menu, but there's been a couple times I've said, do you have any Mexi rolls? And they're like, yes. So I think it's not on the menu, but you can still order it. But those Mexi rolls were another little treat nugget that were so good. But I won't even stop at a Taco Bell if I just can't do it. I just can't do it.
The Crunchwrap Supreme is incredible. Incredible. The Taco John. So growing up, I didn't even try Taco Bell until I got to college because where I grew up, there was just Taco John's everywhere. In Denison, there was no Taco Bell back then. So I used to get the meat and potato burrito, no tomato, and extra orders of nacho cheese with the Olays.
Drew knows what's up. Taco Bravo. That's
Taco
right.
Bravo.
That's right. He knows it. Also, how can you not want to go to Taco John's when their famous Christmas jingle is still to this day? You can quote that entire jingle.
That's an elite jingle. The jingles maybe around Christmas time when that stuff will come in too. That was elite. That was an elite jingle. That and Save Big Money at Menards. My brother, when he was and he was playing at Menards. That one will be in my brain forever on the radio too. That and the Taco Bell one. That's great. All right, so far we both have Bebops, and we split on the taco ones with Bell and John's. I put Wendy's on here because their ice cream and their burgers are so underrated because people talk about the other ones more. But Wendy's is sneaky elite as I've gotten older. Weird enough, I kind of ignored it in college and stuff too. And then I don't eat fast food as much anymore. Like if you have to go do something fast, if there's just a McDonald's or a Wendy's, there is 100 out of 100. I'm going to Wendy's. So I put Wendy's on the list.
Wendy's was just outside of the top four for me. I'm a Hardee's guy. Their monster burgers were, I mean, when they came out with the monster breakfast sandwich, I'm a breakfast guy anyways. So Hardee's has hands down the best breakfast. Their biscuit sandwiches are the best, but their monster burgers, dude, I went to town on those. When I could eat, when I was at my heyday of about 420, which is probably not something you should be proud of, I could put away some Hardee's. I'm just saying.
You know what? I kind of forgot about Hardee's because we only had that back in Denison growing up too. The Frisco burger from Hardee's is elite. I forgot.
Yes.
We're being honest. Wendy's, if I could redo, I would probably use Wendy's for Hardee's.
One episode in, I already got Teddy got Teddy to change his mind.
I seriously forgot about the Frisco burger because the Frisco burger might be the best, chain one I've ever. It is so good. I haven't had them in a long time too.
Yep.
That was hard for me to argue on that one. All right, Hardee's was a good one. All right, my last one, and it's just the go-to because it's always McDonald's or Burger King, and I just go Burger King. Like their sandwiches are so much better. If they had McDonald's fries, there'd be no reason to ever go to McDonald's ever. I think McDonald's has great fries. Everything else sucks. I used to like their Big Macs until their burgers got so thin there's no meat on it. So Burger King made my list. I was just almost a spite pick instead of McDonald's. Burger King's on the list because they're the two that are everywhere, and I always pick Burger King over McDonald's.
Here's my curveball. Long John Silver's.
Oh, really?
Oh, my God, dude. It's so good. 3 years ago when COVID was happening, my company I worked for we had a virtual management conference, and they gave out DoorDash coupons, which I had never used DoorDash. 3 days in a row, dude, I DoorDashed some Long John Silver's. Man, it was the worst afternoons of my life, but that's how much I loved it. Was the next day I was like, that really wasn't so bad. I'm going to get another DoorDash and some Long John Silver's.
I can still smell the inside of that place, the grease. It's makes me want to gag going there. If you ever got that, you had to get it to go because you could never. Oh.
Drew, you're not going to Long John Silver's to order chicken. Get the fuck out of here with that. Come on, man.
You can't go there and get chicken. That's funny.
I'm gonna go to Long John Silver's. I'm gonna order chicken.
That's funny.
I'm gonna kick him out of Three Beers Media. That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous statement.
That's actually really funny.
The filet fish, and then that malt liquor with the malt vinegar and the salt.
I was like, you get some malt liquor at Long John, man? You're getting crazy.
Oh, that's in some neighborhoods. That's in some neighborhoods. That's not on the south side.
No, that's funny. Popeyes was on the short list and just missed for me. Popeyes is great.
How did I forget about Arby's?
Arby's was good, but their
beef and cheddar.
Arby's is good.
Yep.
But Popeyes was a very close miss for me.
KFC was a close miss for me. Speaking of Hardee's, when they made fried chicken, My dad dropped KFC in a heartbeat. He would get fried chicken from Hardee's all the time.
Really? I'm not
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
I never
This was late 80s, early 90s. They started carrying fried chicken. My dad was like at KFC, like it was every Friday night we got a bucket of chicken. Dude, when Hardee's had fried chicken, it was over for KFC.
KFC's biscuits are pretty damn good, but Popeyes are actually better. Popeyes biscuits are elite. Elite.
It's not bad.
All right, well, we just went through the fat kid list there. And I went with Bebop's, Taco Bell, Wendy's, and Burger King, but I already want to change my list because Hardee's definitely would have trumped Wendy's for me. And you went with Bebop's as well, then Taco John's, Hardee's, and Long John Silver is so the smell
so great.
Like
I'm gonna make a run right now.
Like if I was on a diet, like a serious diet where I just couldn't eat, I'm like, I would walk into there. I think I would lose my appetite. It's just so awful in there, like just awful.
I think they used to like soak their corn on the cob and just butter vats. That's what I think. Then you just pour it out. Listen. When the bag has like serious grease stains at the bottom, that's good stuff. I'm just saying.
I can just smell it. It's gross fish. Ugh. No way, man. You're a weirdo for that one. All the stuff there. You're a weirdo for Long John Silver's. That's our first one, right? I just think you're crazy on that. There's no way. There's no way. I think I would stay at home and eat my bologna and cheese on plain white bread instead on that.
Oh, you need to expand your horizons, my friend.
Bologna and cheese is elite, by the way.
It is. It's not bad.
All right, man. Well, that was a good time. I had fun. It was a really good episode. This will probably be one of the few episodes we do where it's just the two of us, but it was a great initial episode to get kicked off here. Again, we were live from the AKC Andrew Downs Marketing Studio and brought to you by Rebelton Distilling Company. Got anything else to add here, bud?
No, just appreciate everybody listening, things like that. Shout out to Andrew Downs. I see he's going to have a little bit of a surgery the end of the week, so hope everything goes the best for Andrew and give him a little props on Twitter and let him know you think about it.
Actually saw him today. I got some golf bags for a golf tournament we have coming up. Ordered through him. It turned out fantastic. Got him turned around really quick too. So seriously, hit him up, look him up on it too. And well wishes to Andrew as he goes in that surgery here. We'll talk to him soon, but definitely hit him up for any of your marketing needs. And they do everything too. And he's a good dude. So
yeah, he's saved me a lot at this new job. He's just done an amazing job for us. So
good stuff, man. All right. Well, that's our first edition of the Climbing Mount Rushmore. I hope everybody that tuned in enjoyed it, and we're looking forward to bringing you some really cool guests and and some more fun topics coming up. And this is probably the nicest we'll be to each other moving forward. So we'll get the boxing gloves out next time. But until next time, I'm Ted. He's Chris. Peace.
Later.